the Surviving Outside Sales podcast, hosted by Mike O'Kelly, presented by Sales Builder Academy. The goal is to survive and thrive all phases of outside sales, whether you're getting in, dominating, or getting out. Surviving Outside Sales. Now on with the show. Welcome to the Surviving Outside Sales podcast. I'm your host, Mike O'Kelly. This podcast is brought to you by Sales Builder Academy. And let's hear a quick message. This podcast is brought to you by Sales Builder Academy. Sales Builder Academy is your online sales training resource for all things outside sales. From training, recommended products, and sales coaching, Sales Builder Academy is your one-stop shop for everything in all phases of your sales career. Learn how to build and scale a sales business. Learn how to build a network that sells for you. Learn how to start your sales podcast. And if you're ready to make that move, learn how you can build your sales escape plan to build the life that you've always dreamed of. If this sounds like you and you're interested, click in the show notes in this podcast or text the letters SOS to the phone number 980-689-6989. Again, that's the letters SOS to the phone number 980-689-6989. Now back to the show. Sales Builder Academy. It is going to be the online hub for all things talking about the business of sales. And if you've been listening to the show, you know that that is the one thing that I talk about the most. Reminder, the sales as a business is the closing aspect. And that is what a majority, I would say anywhere between 75, 80, 85% of the sales world, the sales gurus, what they talk about, which is sales as a business. As a reminder, sales as a business is the closing aspect, and it's very important. But I believe the problem with just hyper-focusing on that, you forget about everything else. How to actually run a business. The way that you should think about your territory or your day-to-day operations is a micro business, almost like a franchise within your big company's structure. So for instance, I usually had the Carolinas, North and South Carolina, for a lot of the medical companies that I worked for. I viewed my territory, North and South Carolina, and everything that happened inside that area like a franchise for the bigger company. I ran the day-to-day operations. I built the business plan. And I executed on a daily basis. Now, of course, I got support from corporate, and there were certain things that I could and could not do, just like running a franchise. They're giving the guidance from the top, but my managers, regionals, VPs of sales, they weren't affecting and moving the needle on a local level. That was me. You need to have that level of accountability and mindset when you are running your business in the field. You need to think about it when you wake up in the morning that you are a small business owner, just within a larger structure. If you do that, I guarantee you what you spend your time on will change. Gone will be the wasteful activities of the past, and what will replace it is revenue generating productivity. And that's what you want. From the time you rise, the time you get out in the field, to the time you go to bed, you want to have the mindset that you are going to rise and fall based on your level of business acumen and your ability to execute the plan. If you don't think like that, we need to have a conversation. That is how successful sales professionals treat their business. If nobody has taught that to you, I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot from my students. They don't hear a lot of the business side of the sales world. It's a lot of features and benefits. It's a lot of talk tracks, sales scripts, objection handling. All of those things are important. But if you can't get to the close, none of it matters. And I believe it's one of the reasons why a lot of sales professionals are struggling today. There's not enough business acumen being taught on the front end to set up these sales professionals for success. Setting up these sales professionals in order to close The imagery I'd like to give you is think of a football field. And let's say you took the kickoff at your own 25-yard line. The business of sales is moving down the field to get into the red zone. The red zone is sales as a business closing. The goal is to get into the end zone and score a touchdown. So the closing happens in the red zone. But how do you get there? How do you move the ball down the field? You're not going to throw up 75-yard Hail Marys every single time. Now, you can get lucky every once in a while, but that kind of strategy does not make a sales career, does not make a successful one, especially. So the goal is to move the ball down the field to the point where you have so much natural momentum that the opportunities will open up to score a touchdown. Have you ever noticed whenever an offense is on the field and they're on a field for 10, 12, 13 plays, it wears the defense down and it makes it a little easier to get in the end zone. Trust me, I've been fans of the Washington football team. Well, I guess now they're the Commanders, and maybe they won't be the Commanders for much longer. They're going to have to change their name again. But they've had some pretty terrible teams in the last 20 years. And it's amazing that the opposing team will drive down the field on them, and then they'll score a touchdown that's so easy. Well, do you know why it was so easy? It's because they wore down the defense on the way to the end zone. And then there was a blown coverage, an opportunity presented itself to exploit in order to score a touchdown. The same thing happens in the sales world. Now, I don't believe in battling. I know, there's the challenger sale. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. There's no battling. That is an old school mentality where you are on different sides and you are fighting to who can beat the other person up. 2023 and beyond, sales is about collaboration. Sales is about partnerships. Sales is about pulling somebody to a better future state, not beating them up, not quote unquote winning the negotiation. There shouldn't be anything you're winning. You should have a vested interest in the person that buys your product or service, just like they should have a vested interest in getting you more business once you've partnered with them. That is how you take things to the next level. It's not challenging them. It's not beating them over the head. It's not battling them on a daily basis. Who has the time and the energy to do that? It doesn't make any sense in 2023. So instead of, now as a football team, you're going to want to battle the defense on the way down the field. But in the sales world, the business of sales is about processes and systems, just like running plays on a football field. Processes and systems that will move your business closer with that particular buyer to get them in an opportunity to where they're going to want to close because you have done such a great job explaining the future state and you have created so much clarity that they can see it. If your buyers can't see a better future state using your product or service, that is where the objections come in. And there's a big debate in the sales world about objections. My experience and my belief, objections only happen when you haven't created clarity on a better future state. Now, there are questions. There's a difference between questioning and objecting. Questioning is, okay, let's say we sign on, let's say we buy this product. What does the next couple months look like? That's a question. The person, the buyer, the prospect has already verbalized, hey, if I go in, what does it look like? Just paint me a picture because I can't see it yet. Again, there's not enough clarity, and that's why the question is here. That is not an objection. An objection is when there's a roadblock that the buyer puts up and it's very antagonistic and the tone is wrong. There is a big difference between a question on how things should work, i.e. the process, and an objection. I think you have to understand the distinction between both of those. because there's nuance in what a person says and what they're asking. But if you're just following this methodology of having your list of objections, and this is what, if they say this, then you say that, I highly recommend that you just take a deep breath, have a conversation with people, focus on the business of sales, have so many prospects in the pipeline, create such clarity that they would feel foolish for not signing up with you. That right there is the future of sales. It is not the old days of dragging people across the finish line. Who wants to do that? The days of getting them to sign on the line that is dotted and then you disappear. Those days are over. If anyone out there is talking about those old philosophies, you need to walk away from them. You need to walk away from them right now. They are archaic. They are not going to get you to where you want to go. Just having some fancy closing scripts are not going to get you to where you want to go. What you have to do is you have to have a fundamental understanding of the business operations, not only your business operations, but the business operations of your buyers and your prospects. As a small business owner and multiple businesses, I am inundated with emails, requests, pitches. I see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Unfortunately, I'm seeing way too much ugly. And the ugly are tactics that used to work maybe 15 years ago before everybody started to use them. The bad were about 5 years ago. The good, they just treat you like a human being. Hey, I know you got struggles out there. I know you got problems. Just wanted to know if there's anything I can do to help. Lend a helping hand. That is understanding the type of pressures and the type of scrutiny that business owners in 2023 are under. It doesn't matter if you're calling on doctors. It doesn't matter if you're calling on lawyers, if you're calling on dentists, roofers, entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter. If you are calling on a business owner or you're calling on somebody that you want to sell your product or service, you have to look through the lens of your buyer. You have to understand their business. You have to understand what motivates them to grab their attention, time, and their money. And if you can't do that, you are not going to be successful or as successful as you can or could be in the sales world. The hardest part is in a sea of information, most of it is garbage. How do you discern which direction you should go? You tell me. I'm very curious. I talk about the business of sales, and I don't feel like enough people are doing that. Reach out to me. I've built an entire program, Sales Builder Blueprint, which is the first product. It is the entry point of Sales Builder Academy. Sales Builder Academy, what is being built on the back end, is the entire database of products, coaching, teachings, online courses, of the business of sales. If you want to run a business or you want to run your territory like a business, Sales Builder Academy has everything you're going to want to need either today in the future. That is my belief. That is what I am betting all of my future on. I'm all in. All the chips are on the middle of the table. The future is about understanding the business of sales. The past, sales as a business. If you're only focusing on closing, there's a lot of yardage on that football field that nobody is covering it. And I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of companies that are covering it either. I'm talking to executives about what they're actually teaching and what they're coaching. And I'll tell you what, it is not the business of sales. It is not how to be an entrepreneur. It's not how to be a business owner, to run a business that is a territory. So reach out to me, Mike at Surviving Outside Sales. You can go to mikeokelly.com/salesbuilderblueprint. Check out the Sales Builder Blueprint. It is the foundational processes and systems that you will use for the rest of your career in one way, shape, or form. I guarantee you're going to use that for the rest of your career. It's going to change your mindsets. You're going to start thinking of your territory like a business. Stop thinking of it as a job. Stop using the word job. It is a business. It is a small business within a larger corporate structure. And if something happens to that corporate structure, guess what? You're going to pick up your business, the processes, systems, and frameworks, and you're going to drop them in to your next opportunity. So in the ad read for Sales Builder Academy, there's a couple different products out there. One is Sales Podcast Builder. If you are interested in building a podcast, send me a message, Mike at survivingoutsidesales.com. I have a course. It's not yet released to the public, but it will be in the next couple weeks. That is Sales Podcast Builder. But even if you're not in sales, if you're listening to this for some reason, or you know somebody that wants to start a podcast, I'm going to have a course that is going to run through from A to Z how you can achieve that, either with I call it the freemium model, or if you really want to invest some money into it. There's two different ways to do it. Okay. You don't have to build your podcast exactly how I did it, because I didn't do it exactly how others did it, but there's a way to do that. There's also the Sales Escape Plan. Sales Escape Plan is a course that I am creating that is going to help those sales professionals who are stuck in their career. Maybe they're in their 30s, 40s, or 50s, and they're looking to pivot possibly into something else. They want to exit an industry and get into another industry. They want to learn how to start a business, possibly buy a franchise. They're going to need some guidance. They're going to need some coaching. I did not have that. I made a few wrong turns over the year. I don't want that to happen to anybody else who's listening. So if you know anybody like that, shoot them my way. Mike at Surviving Outside Sales. I'll have all of that on the website, mikeokelly.com, as soon as possible. It might take me about 3 to 4 weeks, but I just want to get the word out right now. I gave some discount codes out for the Sales Builder Blueprint, and I'm going to do the same with each of the products that come out. And I don't have those yet, but I will shortly. So reach out to me, Mike at Surviving Outside Sales. Download this episode, share it with like-minded individuals. And if you're listening right now and you know of somebody, a colleague who's struggling, have them reach out to me. If you know somebody who needs help, reach out to me. If you are listening right now and you're struggling and you need help, reach out to me. I might be able to help you. I might be able to help you today. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. We'll see you next time, tomorrow, on Surviving Outside Sales. Bye-bye.